Hello, and thanks for joining us on the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of Gen Con and the gaming capital of the world, this is The Established Facts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 75 of The Established Facts. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, but we are actually celebrating the beginning of our fourth year and the end of our third year of production. Thank you so much for all of you who have endured your ears to our voices over the last 3 years. And we are excited about year number 4 and 2014 and 2015 to come. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start our introductions. Ladies first.
This is Dr. Deb.
This is Josh.
Greetings, mortals. This is Lance.
Hey, this is Derek.
This is Prime.
And, of course, I am your host, Big Don. And we are going to kind of do a fun episode. It's a kind of a mid-year...
As opposed to our normal episodes, which are like work.
That's right. That's right. No, I just mean normally we talk about different game topics and things like that, but I think we're going to get into more of our experiences thus far for 2014 and some of the things that we've really enjoyed and some of the things that we're looking forward to in the second half of the year. So we do have a versus topic for you guys, which I think would be kind of fun. So our versus topic is going to be single-player gameplay versus multiplayer gameplay. And for those of you who don't necessarily know what I'm talking about, maybe you're not so much the console or PC gamer, you're more of a board gamer or something. As we put it affectionately earlier, do you like to play solitaire or do you like to play Scrabble? So, you know, what kind of gameplay do you look forward to? So I'm going to go ahead and start to my left with Prime.
I'm going to have to say single player for me.
Single player.
Multiplayer.
I'm going to say single player only because the current generation doesn't support very many local multiplayers. I don't like online multiplayer. Local I love, though.
So after he said that, I'm now confused about my answer. But I'm going to have to say single player, probably for a similar reason to my husband, which is very strange. The world is just a little bit off at the moment, but...
Well, I am going to have to agree with Mr. Lance and have to say multiplayer, so you are not alone, my friend. So, Lance?
Is?
Please tell the listeners why we like multiplayer gameplay.
For me, and me alone, I can't speak for you,
Okay.
but I like to have fun with my friends. And if I'm doing it solo, you know, it's fun, it's cool, it's great. But gaming was originally and has always been a communal experience. And that's just me. And it's not just consoles, because I have a Wii, and it's built for having multiple players, thank you.
That is very true. That is very true. Derek, why do you like solo player a lot better?
I didn't really think about what Josh was talking about, which was local multiplayer. I would actually enjoy local multiplayer. I just have found that online multiplayer has a lot of issues with it. Not only is it it brings about the worst in anonymous people, and like I played the Final Fantasy multiplayer. I played WoW for a little bit. But every time it seemed like I went in a party, it was just annoying, like, little brats. And they're like, well, why are you doing that? You're playing that wrong? And they start saying a lot of things I cannot say on this rated episode. So,
Well, that goes back to what
You, sir, are like...
I am a detriment to this table.
Okay, quick thing. I had my Monster can like right next to me, right by Lance, and then he does a wild gesticulation, and it just went everywhere. And it went on me, went on the table, and now he has another drink beside him, and he just like nearly destroyed that too.
To be fair, mine have lids.
That's true.
I'm sorry, I can't drink out of a sippy cup for Monster.
But getting back to the original main point, that's one of the reasons that I like multiplayer is because I like to play with my friends. If you're playing with a group of strangers, it is a completely different experience.
So this may put me in the fence sitter category, but that's okay. I've been there a couple times before. I love playing multiplayer in person. I love the Wii. Still another reason why the Wii is an awesome console, because that is what it was designed to do. In fact, just last weekend we were all sitting around and playing Mario Kart for the Wii and having a fantastic time.
Wii U.
It was the Wii U. Sorry. Another great invention, by the way, by Nintendo. Ding. But when I watched Derek, I've watched Josh, I've watched several others on both Xbox and PlayStation do this online, I've never been impressed. I'm like, that is not what I want to do. Either these kids who are obviously like 8 are on there playing and you're like, oh dear God, deliver me, or it's, a bunch of language that, no one should see or repeat. And I'm like, this is not fun. So I'd rather be by myself having a great experience or having my friends. So I didn't realize that
there's a hybrid to that. It's
that?
like when Josh plays like Last of Us, and we have a bunch of other people in the room.
Yeah.
See, that's fun.
Well, I don't know if you can necessarily classify the game The Last of Us a fun game. As much as entertaining as it is, it's pretty scary. And depressing.
You do it with Watch Dogs, too.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, because you've been doing that, too.
Well, I don't know. I think the funniest way was when I watched him play Saints Row. Any of the Saints Row games, because that game is just absurd. And, of course, you're adding to the absurdity by watching and saying, oh, God, watch out for the prostitute on the corner.
As we all should say.
That's right. That's right. Nobody wants anything they got.
No,
That's the
you don't.
gift that keeps on giving.
This is your medical comment. No, you don't.
Right. Well, I mean,
Deb said no.
That's right. Wow. I think that kind of brings us into a little bit of a complementary topic to that is in the world of mostly single-player games, it seems like. I mean, very, very few, especially, like Josh said, especially nowadays, there are very few games that are actually engineered for local multiplayer play. It's like if you play an Xbox game, you have to have Xbox Live just to play with your buddies in the same room. You have to all log into your own Xbox Live account.
Halo, when we were playing Halo 4, it was like I was upstairs, you had people down.
You can system link. Yeah, you can system link.
I was laughing at you all because it looked so silly. I'm like, you're on the same game, and you are all in like 3 different rooms.
Well, yeah, but that's the only way you're going to be able to get more than 4.
Right.
But that's
Even
a problem.
So, there was a time when we were at your apartment. Yeah, there were 4 of you, and 2 of you were in 2 different rooms. Like,
technologically speaking, you have seen PC games. You understand what they do and what type of power they require. So they've shrunk that down into a console. The fact that they're able to put 4 on at one time is a marvel.
Yeah, I agree. And the other issue that you brought up is playing games like WoW. And when you play in a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, you are playing in a multiplayer game, but you are playing your lone wolf character. So it's it's kind of a different environment of gaming in itself. You're not sitting next to your buddy playing Mario Kart 8 on your Wii U. You're sitting in your room with a computer and playing with somebody halfway around the world that's playing the same game, or maybe you're all in the same guild or something like that. So, Josh, you had something?
Yeah, I was going to say, the biggest issue that I have with single versus multi is the fact that I feel like when you do like a multiplayer aspect, there's no room for storyline for the game. That's why I like doing single player, because like Assassin's Creed, that's not a multiplayer, that's a strictly single player game. Well, they've got like a multiplayer for the
they
ones,
got a multiplayer online.
That's different.
I agree. I think that there are different formats for different reasons, but I still contest that games like Gears of War or Army of Two or even Halo for an example, or Call of Duty, those games have multiplayer campaign settings that are really rich in story, and they're really good, especially like Gears of War and Army of Two. I know that my brother and I play that game. We play the heck out of that game, and it's just so much fun because you get a chance to play with your buddy, and there is a really in-depth campaign setting for that game, and then when you play online, it's even more so. But go ahead, Josh.
Well, the trend going on right now with at least there's a couple of games that are definitely coming out with it. Titanfall, the big game that came out for Xbox One, it was their big launch game, and Xbox 360 now that it's out. That whole premise was nothing but online multiplayer with minimal storyline.
Yeah.
And I think there is an in-depth storyline, but the point was they were trying to focus on your ability to have multiplayer first-person shooters. Okay, well, it's fantastic.
It's no different than Call of Duty, any of them.
Well, no, because the Call of Duties have a big, heavy storyline unless you do the multiplayer. The multiplayer part, because what has happened, the last generation of consoles was a lot of, you have a multiplayer campaign and you have a single-player campaign. Very rarely, unlike Army of Two, Army of Two was an exception to that. A lot of those were separated segments. But I'll give you an example. The Destiny beta that Bungie's got out right now. You are playing a lone character, yes. However, as you're going through the storyline, there are online players running around in the same area you are. And there are certain parts of the story where you need people to jump in and help you. And you just grab somebody online, which could be a buddy of yours on another console or whatever, and you go up to him and say, hey, look, we need to go do this mission, and you guys go and do the mission. Or you walk into the mission yourself, and once you get to the mission point, mainly the resurrect, where they limit your ability to respawn, that is locked to either you or the number of players required for that story. So it's neat because you can run around and see all these other people, and they can help you and they can kill you and open parts of the mission. But once you reach the point of the mission where it's like, this is your responsibility to get through here, they all go away. So it's now a single player. So it's really neat. It's the first time I've ever seen that. So maybe we're starting to see a little bit of a trend of combining multiplayer and single player in such a way that they can work together harmoniously.
One of my you were talking about, I mean, that's an interesting concept, but one of my issues that I've had with massive multiplayer games is you have those people that min-max their characters, and
we play role-playing games.
No, there's an and to this. And they sit around and watch for noobs, and then they destroy them. And then they feel like, Eve is a big culprit of this. So you spend all this time trying to get all these very limited resources. You grind, which is a very, very, very boring thing. And then you get whacked within like 2 minutes because some guy had to wave his thing around and say, oh, look at me, I'm so tough. And then I'm going to kill a noob. All the noobs I can. So it sets me off as far as MMORPGs are concerned, and that's one thing that I would be concerned about with a style like that is, okay, well, I've garnered all these resources, I'm ready to go into this mission. Okay, some person decided they wanted to kill me, now I have to
Well, from what I understand, there's no PvP element to it.
Okay, well then that changes it.
I never got shot by anybody. Now that being said, I did walk into an area where there was a monster who literally had level ? And it killed me in one shot. It was terrible.
That's a balancing thing, but I mean...
Well, I just walked in. I shouldn't have been going there. That was the reality. I shouldn't have been there.
And I think Derek's point brings up a very interesting subject. I mean, do you feel like when you play games that are multiplayer online games, whether it be an MMO or whether it be a first-person shooter or something like that, I seem to think that a lot of times when you have, especially like, it drives me crazy when when you're just playing your first-person shooter just for fun because you enjoy first-person shooters, and then you've got that kid who's 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, and they have this attitude like, they are, King Pooh on Turd Mountain, and they can take out. Well, I didn't, they did. Lance is looking at me trying to figure out what I'm talking about. But I feel like, and let me know if you agree or disagree, but I feel like there is a false sense of confidence that comes with people who play games like that, and it seems like a lot of times the kids who are playing games like that, who have that false sense of confidence, are having to deal with other social issues, like maybe the fact that the only friends they have are the ones that they're playing those games with at times. And I'm not saying that that's a general thing, but I feel like...
Oh, that's totally possible that they're getting their frustration out. They can't get it out on real life, so now they're the bully kids that they go home and like, well, this is the only place where I can feel powerful and blah, blah, blah.
Right, and instead of having a positive outlet, like whether it be, your parents playing games with you and kind of building up your confidence, or having friends who actually care about you, the only outlet you might have is getting online and snapping some noobs.
Yeah.
That gets into a much bigger discussion about the internet and the anonymity of the internet.
I agree.
And parents, watch your kids. If they're playing games, don't just let it be the babysitter. The kids are going to say online what they're saying to their friends, not what parents or what they want the parents to hear them say.
That's such a difficult phrase. I like it, though. You're absolutely right. I don't even have kids yet, and it was one of the best things that happened when I was a kid growing up. You guys remember Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo?
That was a fun game.
Yeah, but it was like Mortal Kombat was violent, and Killer Instinct was just like, I don't know what people were thinking, but my parents got us the Super Nintendo and saw Killer Instinct and just the different games we had, and my mom was like, "Oh, let's see what this is like." I got to the loading screen that showed the little video beforehand. She goes, and nope. I was like, wait, what? I know this is just a game, and you need to understand that this is just a game. You're not playing that. That's pretty much what just happened. You're just not playing it. But because they engaged, they always wanted to see what games we were playing. They always wanted to see and possibly be involved. My mom playing Super Mario Brothers 3 was one of the funniest things in the world because she loved the little boot. Every time she got it was like, Das Boot. She'd jump around in the boot. It was so funny. So engagement it's important. It really is in this situation. So don't let your kids become online zombies.
I feel like we're making a public service announcement.
And now getting back to the multiplayer thing.
Right.
I do like multiplayer, except when playing Super Mario Brothers games on the Wii U. Because I think it is a friendship killer.
It is.
Anytime you have four
Very
people
much so.
playing that game at the same time. Any side-scrolling game that requires more than one person to do,
that's right,
you're going to start hating each other.
That's right.
Instantly.
Just turn into the bubble!
Bubble! Why did you bubble? You told me to bubble.
We can't all bubble at the same time.
Josh, I wasn't telling Josh though, but what's Josh?
I am so confused.
So good.
Anyone that hasn't played Mario Brothers games on Wii U, just disregard the last 20 seconds.
That's right. Or just go and play.
Or play it and experience the
That's right.
craziness for yourself.
We may have our arguments about Sony and about Microsoft, and when we had our discussion about PS4 and Xbox One, my wife gave me all kinds of grief. She's like, I wanted to be there for Wii U. Somebody's got to stand up for it.
Right.
All I know is that last weekend, what did everyone say? You know what would be fun to play?
Rock Band.
That's
yes.
right, PS3.
Boom.
That was, after we hadn't played it
Mario
for
Kart
about,
8.
6 months, and Mario Kart 8. Mario
That's
Kart
right.
8 got first dibs, if I recall.
It did.
Then
Yeah,
we played it, and then we played
that
some
game
Rock
is so
Band.
much
You
fun.
notice who didn't play Mario Kart 8?
So,
Because the lone wolf over there.
Yeah, right.
So,
This podcast brought to you by Nintendo.
but is Nintendo, how is Nintendo doing for Wii U?
I don't have the numbers.
They have had increased sales here recently, especially with the Mario Kart 8 release. There was a big increase in sales. It's still not nearly as much as it did not sell as much as the original Wii did, but it's gaining a little traction. But they're trying to fight a really uphill battle right now, where Microsoft and Sony are just duking it out like crazy people. So. They're still releasing games for it, and they haven't. They are of course discussing the next generation for them, but they haven't announced anything. If they do, it'll be next E3 or the following. So
yeah,
which is really interesting to me because I love the Wii U concept, and Princess Katie likes the Wii U, and Don's wife likes the Wii U.
Is it different enough from the Wii to make it worthwhile?
Not really, but the one element that I say, yeah, we're recording. The one element that I say that was a big, that a lot of people kind of take for granted was the Wii U controller being able to be utilized as a single player option. My wife and I will sit. I'm playing Watch Dogs, or I'm playing The Last of Us, or whatever game I've decided I'm going to pick up on the PS4. She has no interest in it. She grabs her Wii U controller and can sit there and play the Wii U.
They're spending quality time together playing separate games
Absolutely.
in chairs that sit right next to each other.
Isn't that what married life is all about?
It really is.
Well, you've had the discussion with your wife about stuff like this, how you enjoy watching video games.
Oh
correct?
yeah.
So it's not that surprising.
It's not. All right, so that really gets us into our discussion topic. We're going to do kind of a review on what the first half of our 2014 year has been. We've done, as the established facts, we've attended and we have exhibited at several different conventions, which is kind of new for us, which is kind of cool. And we've also played a ton of games at those several different cons and in our homes and things like that. So real quick, what I would like to do is kind of talk about some of the conventions that we have gotten a chance to attend, and not just local cons. I think several of us went to Indiana Comic Con in March, and we had an exhibitor table at Indy PopCon in May. However, we have also attended Fear the Con 7. I think we had a fairly large group of us. There were seven of us. Seven of us went this year.
Yeah.
And then
Derek and Lance.
And then Derek and Lance went out to San Francisco for Gamer X2. Is that what it is?
Gamer X2, yeah.
Okay.
You actually had a table there, right?
Yeah.
Selling the now released Universal Storytelling System.
That's right. And of course, we've got Gen Con coming and a couple other really big conventions coming into town here within the next six to 8 months. So really what I want to get into is the cons that we have attended this year, which are Fear the Con 7, as attendees, not exhibitors, but as attendees, Fear the Con 7 and Indiana Comic Con. What did you guys enjoy about those conventions, and what do you feel like for the years to come they could improve on to continue to make those great conventions?
Well, I could speak on both of them. I know we've had a lot of conversations about Comic-Con, but some may not have had their opinion, so I'll let others put their opinion on Comic-Con.
Tell them what their opinion is.
Well,
right.
We talked about Comic-Con earlier in the year, right after it happened. We had quite a few conversations about it, but that doesn't mean everyone here got an opportunity to put in. So I've done my part. They can say theirs. Fear the Con, on the other hand, was a roaring success. Mm-hmm. They had roughly 120 people, I think, were there. Mm-hmm. I ran a Quags game that was supposed to be Universal Storytelling, but I just didn't feel confident doing it. But the Quags game worked out really well. Our friend Avital, who's probably one of the biggest Doctor Who fans we know, got to actually run off with the Doctor in the story, so that was pretty entertaining. Played in a game with Derek where we got to be the Fear the Boot hosts. I played Chad as Batman, but he had no bat suit. It was funny. We'll eventually release an actual play of that once Derek gets me the SD card. So
it's whatever.
then, of course, the all-night dungeon crawl, which I've been terrible about not posting any video links up, but I've got YouTube links to about 6 of the 8 hours or so recorded of us just playing the dungeon. So Fear the charity raised, what was it, $2,600 this year?
Yeah, it was about that.
And nearly...
Which is almost $1,000 more than they did last year.
Yeah, and 3/4 of that was from the dungeon crawl.
Yeah. So I think that's going to become a slot 5-6 thing next year instead of an overnight. So it's going to be a really awesome, just awesome. And then meeting a few new people, kind of getting a relationship there. Beth Roper, kind of opening that relationship up there, but then extending the relationship with Adam Godfrey because he was awesome for that evening. And Mark, I'm totally blanking his name right now. Mark,
Ooh.
if you listen, the guy who was in our all-night dungeon. There was Mark, and then the other guy, the other sorcerer, or whatever.
Yes.
He was a part of the other podcast. He was a former podcast guy, the guy we intervened with in the Kick to the Dice Bags.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember Mark, and I'm totally blanking on the other guy's name. I do apologize, but he was a sorcerer. I remember what he did.
Yeah.
So those guys were really cool relationships to kind of farm up. Was his name Tony? No, it wasn't Tony. Who was the guy that we randomly met that was his first con?
Zach
Lorton. Yeah. Shout out to Zach.
Wait, you remember the guy that you met? It was his first time, but you can't remember the guy that you've met.
Yeah,
we played like 6 games with this guy.
Somehow, in 6 slots,
he was in like half of the games that we played.
It was crazy.
And then we played the random Cards Against Humanity game with him afterwards.
And then he played King of Tokyo with me on Saturday night at the hotel.
She's more like a
Brewery.
stalkerish.
Yeah, a little bit.
He lives in Illinois.
He's a fan.
Good guy, but it was his first. He'd never done role playing whatsoever. He had improv experience.
Well,
he was amazing.
He was. He's friends with Dan. They went to high school together. I guess something like that.
Reperture? Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
So I mean, that was a roaring. That was just in those couple days. Those are the things that stick out quickly to me. And I know that a few others did the overnight. A couple other games, and I'll let it go. But Fear the Con set. We're looking forward to Fear the Con 8.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, and I'm actually putting together a plan because this past year we raised money to send people who couldn't pay for tickets to the con. And next year I'd like to expand that a little bit further. I'd like to actually raise money to pay for plane tickets and hotels as well as
That'd be awesome.
tickets, but it would be limited to people who haven't been able to be there before.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And then it would just be probably like a lottery or like an essay thing. Or
I think it's
something
really
like that.
There you go, Lance. Yeah, Lance will be there next year with us.
Yeah,
It's the Fear the Con Charity Scholarship Fund.
That's really what it is. Yeah, I
For
definitely.
just cents a day.
That's right.
We can sponsor a lonely gamer.
And send him to St. Louis.
Oh, we're making a commercial now.
That's right.
Oh, I threatened about that.
Oh no! Wait, the plan is to make one for the dungeon crawl with whatever the charity is. We're going to work with Josh Wooten to get one made up for whatever that charity
That'd be
ends up
cool.
being.
Yeah, we will.
So I definitely have to agree with you, Josh. Indiana Comic-Con, I think now that we've had a few months to kind of let our opinions simmer, overall, I thought that was a very fun opportunity. I really feel like, though there were some difficulties that they had, in general, Indiana Comic-Con opened some doors to other conventions that happened this year that had it not been for them, the other subsequent conventions would not have been as successful.
Most India is now on the convention map.
Yeah,
on the greater scale.
Absolutely.
Like PopCon is a direct descendant of that.
Yeah, because originally they had about the same amount of space as Indiana Comic-Con, and because of just the limited amount of space and numbers that Indiana Comic-Con, they didn't realize what was going to happen. I mean, this is the first time that outside of Gen Con that we've actually had kind of a larger scale convention at the convention center. And they pretty much, I think they at least doubled, if not tripled, the amount of space that they had for Indie PopCon. they had over 300,000 square feet of space for indie PopCon, and I think honestly, again, being a first year convention, there's some growing room, there's a learning curve, but for the most part, that convention was so much fun, and we had an exhibitor table at that convention, and I still had a blast. I didn't get a chance to go around and see everybody that I wanted to, but I did get a chance to sit and talk with people, and I actually sat and taught a couple people how to play a couple games while we were sitting there, and it was just a lot of fun. We met a lot of really cool people, and that's definitely a convention that is going to go on our calendar from now until, either it stops or we stop going or whatever. But it was definitely a good time. Fear the Con 7. This was my brother and my wife and myself and our friend Avital's first year going, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. And thanks to the blessing that Adam and Derek had put together with the kind of the sponsorship program, we were a lot shorter on funds than we thought we were going to be, but we were able to go, and we had a blast. That's definitely going to be another convention that is on our calendar from now until infinity. I know another big blessing for them is, I think this is the first year, I think Beth said this is the first year they've actually made budget for nice. Fear the Con, because they usually are at kind of a loss at the end of it, but this year was like the first year that they actually made budget, which I thought was great. The overnight dungeon crawl was a blast. So much fun. We were all so dead dog tired by the end of it, but it was so much fun. I ran 2 games. Two slots. I ran a USS game in my second slot, and I ran a big King of Tokyo game on the second slot of Saturday. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a really good time, and I think it's definitely a convention that is going to grow, especially as they continue to grow in their dedicated community of booters and things like that. So,
sorry, Deb, you.
I was going to put a plug in for those. You've heard us talk about Fear the Con before if you've listened to us for the last year or two. But I really have to put a plug in because I know that I'm going to hope I don't get in trouble with her. I know that Bonnie was maybe not 100% sure. She didn't know what to expect. She didn't know what to expect, which I can actually totally understand. My personality, I'm the same way. And so going into it. But I have to say, if you're a gamer out there that the idea of going to a con, you're kind of like, I'm not sure. And I like Gen Con because it's so big. There's sort of a sense of anonymity there because, you're one out of 30,000 people. So, you're a little fish in a very, very, very big pond. Well, going to Fear the Con, I was so excited to see as the days passed that she was really enjoying it because if you're more of an introvert or if you're a little quieter kind of a person, because it's a small con, you end up interacting with similar people over and over again. Like we already mentioned, Zach was one example. And so by the time you're done, you may have played in several games with sometimes the same people, and you've really made this connection that can carry on to future years, which is great if you're more of an introvert kind of a personality as opposed to a work-the-whole-room person.
Well, and I also think if you're a newer gamer in general, that's a perfect con to go to because if you've never gamed before and you go to Gen Con, I can easily see how that can be overwhelming for somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Even extroverts, like...
You've got 100 choices for one slot. I mean, what do you...
I'm exhausted. This will be our 12th year going, and I am utterly exhausted by the time Sunday comes around.
It'll be my 10th year then.
Yeah.
Because you went, and then you took Mike, and then I went the following year. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's the Fear the Boot community is a little bit unique in gaming communities. Like they will take people, especially new people, under their wing, and and really like I don't say guide them, but make sure that they have a good time.
Oh yeah.
And especially in situations where it could just easily devolve into the nerd shaming type thing. And another example, because I did see Bonnie smiling and laughing and having a great time, like towards the end of the convention. But I'm developing a board game, and it was really rough around the edges, but the group that I had, and it wasn't just like my friends, but also like people, strangers that we met there, they rolled with the punches. Even my ruling changes as I was going along, trying to fine-tune things, and they were really helpful. And they were looking to have fun, and it was a late slot and everything, so it could have easily gone really south. But
I will say two things. One, when it comes to Bonnie, I actually put together her schedule before we showed up, just to make sure she had events, so that if she wanted to play in a slot. And what was funny was I picked a bunch of events that I was going to be playing in, because my wife is an introvert, and I figured, that kind of that safety net of, we didn't get into the first slot, and she was like, I don't want to play these games. I'm just going to play what I want to. I was like, you know what? That's fine with me. Do what you want to do. And so it was really surprising to see her, like, just at a table with people that we had never met, and having a really, really good time. And I will say that I was kind of surprised that there was probably 100, 150 people at the convention, so it's not a huge convention.
No, it's really not.
But I will say that I met a lot of really cool gamers that I am really excited to see again next year at Fear the Con, because I know they will be there. And for games, like Derek, you're working on that stuff, and even with your USS stuff, I think that a community of 100 to 150 playtesters is a really unique opportunity that that not everyone gets. And if you are working on something like that, and you want a venue to be able to actively sit down with players and show them how to play your game and get feedback, Fear the Con or similar cons to them, if there are other cons that you know about, please let us know what these cons are. But cons about that size that are purely gaming conventions, I think are a breeding ground for some really cool opportunities for people. So
it's like the local comedy circuit, like the small hole-in-the-wall comedy clubs where people work on their material and stuff like that. One of the things I'd like to get to is, we went to the director's chair, so to speak, this year, with the Established Facts having a booth at
Indie
PopCon, and we having a booth at Gamer X.
Gamer X, yeah.
It's a very different perspective doing that than it is being an attendee, especially like you see a lot of the cool things that are events that are happening that you can't attend.
Yeah.
Because you have to be behind the booth. As someone who was primarily behind the booth, and I'm going to talk to Lance about this as well. What do you? How did your con-going experience change?
Well, I can honestly say for us, when we went to Indie PopCon, and we had our booth at Indie PopCon, and I was there 2 out of the 3 days. One thing that it was really funny, because I made this comment by the end of Friday, and I was like, for sitting down and not moving for 8-10 hours, I am so tired. Like, it was crazy. I'm an extrovert, and I'm kind of an extreme extrovert. I will pretty much talk to anyone who has a face.
It's true.
And if you don't have a face, I may even still talk to you to try and figure out why you don't have a face.
Exactly.
But I had such a good time meeting people and talking to them about what kind of gamers they were, what kind of games they liked. We had a group, it was a dad and his son and his daughter. And his son was, I think, 12, and his daughter was like 14. And they came up and they saw we had like a bunch of games laid out on the table to kind of pique people's interest and come and ask us about what we do and things like that. They were like, oh, I love Munchkin. And they were sitting there just talking to us about, I guess their dad had gotten them into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. And I was like,
dad.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, if there was a category of winning, this guy had it as a dad. Like, and it was so funny because nowhere else would I have gotten the opportunity to sit down and talk to a 12 and a 14-year-old about gaming, and talk to their dad about some of the things that he has done to really encourage his kids through gaming. And it was every person that we met was a new story and a new experience. And there was a guy that came up who is, he organizes, there's a group of veterans.
I remember that guy.
Yeah, I can't remember what the group is called.
It was I don't remember the name of the group either, but they were.
But it's a group of retired veterans in like the 50s, 60s, 70-year-old age, and they're all gamers. And he stood there and he talked to us about like his group, and I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever. and Sunday was just as exciting. And I think as an exhibitor, for what I may have missed with walking around as an attendee with all the stores and with all the comic book people and with all of the actors and things like that I would have probably loved to have met, meeting the people that came up to our booth every opportunity that we had was just as fulfilling as if I were an attendee and I walked around.
And from that was a perspective of us not selling a product.
Yeah.
Lance.
Yes.
You were at Gamer X, and you were working a booth where the primary purpose was to sell a product. How do you feel your con experience was different? Is there something you wish you were able to change about it? That sort of thing.
I really didn't go there as a con attendee as much as an employee. My job was to sell the game, so I didn't go into it thinking, oh man, I'm going to go to that booth and check out that thing, because I knew I was going to be kind of tied to the table the whole time. Now, I'm a con commissioner. I go there and I commission something at every convention I go to, and there were people there that had great artwork, and I would have loved to have gone and talked to them, but my mission there was to sell the universal storytelling system, so that was the mindset I was in, so I didn't really miss out on doing those things.
So do you think that mindset helped? Should you go into a mindset if you're at a booth that's selling a product, or even if you're going to promote like the Established Facts, which is free, should you go into it with that mindset, saying that you're an employee, you're working now?
For me, with the small group of just you and I, yes, because one person had to be at that table at all times. If you go with the Established Facts, there are 6 of us at the table now. You have the chance to, okay, you guys stay here, I'm going to go wander around, and then when I come back, someone else can go. So I think the size of the group matters, the size of the table matters, but I don't think I missed anything because I didn't go there looking to do much.
And that was something that we practiced at Indie PopCon. There was a rotating group of somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 of us throughout the weekend. So it was like when somebody wanted to get up and go and see something, or go and get an autograph, or check out the Batmobile or something like that, there was somebody there to kind of take their spot at the chair. And even those who aren't necessarily regular podcasters with us, our friend Avital, my wife, Lance, it was nice because they're all at least listeners. And so they understood, if you will, the product, or what we were, because we weren't necessarily selling anything for money, but we're selling ourselves. We're talking to people about what they like and what we do, and trying to encourage people to check us out and leave us comments, and hope to network with those people to, if for nothing else, see them at the next convention and have a good time, and possibly have the opportunity to sit down and play a game with them.
And I understand what you were saying about at the end of it just being completely tired, because you are always on. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to attract someone to your table, and granted, a lot of people listening that are gamers that have booths know this, you're always smiling and you're always trying to be energetic, and people are great.
Pure hell.
For an introvert.
For introverts, it is.
That's
Can
right.
you imagine it being
for half of us, it was amazing. For the other half, we were like,
I'm putting myself in that and going, oh my gosh.
I very clearly remember your wife saying one after she that Friday, I think, where she was there the whole day, when you were there the whole day. Afterwards, we were like, okay, what do we want to do next? I remember hearing your wife look right at you and go, I don't want to stay anymore, I want to go home.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said. She goes, I don't want to stay anymore, I want to go home. And I went, I'm going home.
Smart husband.
That's right. And, I will say, I was really surprised because we had both of my sons, my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old were there. And, they got bored sitting there for a while, so they'd, want to play a game or something like that. But, I mean, for the most part, the crowd was not so big that it was overwhelming to have them there. Like, when I needed to take time to kind of make sure that they had something to eat or they needed to go to the restroom or something like that, it wasn't that big of a deal, which was really kind of my biggest concern.
Yeah, and I think that having at least 3 to 4 people at the booth is going to be imperative. I learned a lot from GamerX. I mean, I would have probably 3 or 4 people at that booth so we could rotate around because it just...
And a separate booth for the different things that we had. Because you had Bonnie's Jewelry, which was awesome. You had the Established Facts, which was great, but it was also covered up by some of the gaming stuff. So people were like, and so what do? Are you selling jewelry? Yes, but we also have this game, and that's the primary reason.
We are a multi-purpose Swiss Army knife of awesome.
But on the other hand, I've talked to someone who routinely goes to different cons. This is their full-time job.
Right.
And they said the way to do this is that you have to build up product.
Right.
So you have to develop good quality product. And then when you have that variety of products, then people will come to your booth and want to say, okay, I'm looking at that, but I also want that and that. So they will purchase multiple things, which means that it's easier to make your money back or even make maybe a profit off of that.
Well, having done the exhibitor thing and having worked in sales in general, I can definitely tell you that it also helps, and you've probably both experienced this, it also helps to have somebody there who knows what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They know the USS system enough, they know about Bonnie's Jewelry enough, they know about the podcast enough that they can hold a conversation even if it's for 5 minutes with somebody, and they can just kind of give them the rundown of why they're there and what they're vending. And I know that you sold 16 copies, which is awesome. I mean, that's awesome.
It is considering the fact that it's a role playing,
and it's a brand new role
playing system.
Yeah.
I mean that's something that I had in the back of my mind, but I didn't really want to admit, is that selling role playing systems is very difficult because there's so many of them. And so you need the accessories around them, like the deck of playing cards. You need the novels. You need the campaign system, stuff that you can add to just the system.
The depth of
Yeah, I want to plug the booth that was next to ours at GamerX. The Machine of Death guy. He had his game. Yeah, I'll tell you guys about this offline.
Yeah,
but he had his game. He had additions to his game.
Okay.
He had dice that were just specifically made for his game, but could be used for anything.
Right.
Dice are dice. He also had this concept where he would just he had you get to pick 4 things on a page, and he would draw it for you.
Oh wow!
And he made so much money off of people just coming up and saying, "Draw this for me."
We actually had a guy across from us at Indie PopCon who was there vending. He was there kind of previewing a graphic novel that he's working on, based on a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that he and some friends played. Which I got a chance to kind of talk to the guy for about a good 5-10 minutes, and his story is really, really cool. But he had these things called comeback cards, and it was literally just a little blank, 3-inch by 2.5-inch card that had his name on the bottom. And he said, if you come back and you buy a print, even if it's just a $5 or $10 print, I will draw whatever you want on that card. And I think that idea, especially for an artist or something, if you can find something like that for your specific genre of vending, that is such a cool idea.
Because it's something that it's a limited thing where you can only get that at the convention.
Right.
And, the guy next to us at GamerX was really cool. Contrasted with the guy next to us at PopCon, which just disappeared halfway.
He was a nice guy. He was there Friday.
Yeah.
And he was a very nice guy, but for a guy who was there selling his comics, especially considering they were published by Dark Horse. It shouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a major comic book publisher. He didn't talk to anybody.
He didn't. Well, he didn't engage anybody.
That's what I mean.
first of
Like,
all.
yes, the people that he engaged were people who came up and specifically started talking to him. And I feel like
Introvert.
very much
100%
so.
introvert.
And he was an amazing, like, his art was awesome, and the comic was awesome. The idea behind it was great, and he has a major publishing contract, and you can't sell a product. Like,
Well, and part of
like,
the reason is because, like, visually, the only thing that he had at his booth were the comic books. Like,
Right.
he didn't have any kind of
right.
backdrop. any
But
kind
all
of-
we had at our booth
you at least
was
had
a couple games and a bucket of candy.
you at
And
least
some
had a-
microphones.
Yeah.
and some microphones, and we literally pulled people into our booth. And I mean, we didn't. I mean, it was just a table, but we pulled people over to us just by engaging them. And I think that for somebody who may have, if you understand that you have a difficulty talking to people, find a buddy who doesn't. Exactly. Derek and Lance, that's a perfect combination because Lance can engage people and say, hey, you want this product. Why do I want this product? Well, let me tell you.
And
That's exactly what he said.
And
Derek,
we found
can
that it
tell you
was
all about
much
it.
easier to sell the game by play testing it.
Yes.
I mean,
my goodness.
minus
Exactly.
the one guy that took up an hour's worth of time at the booth.
Okay, he was
Yeah.
the exception to
But
the
he
rule.
was the exception. Everyone that play tested bought.
Okay.
Okay.
That's very cool.
That's an excellent
That's
piece
very
of that's an excellent piece of knowledge that will serve you for the rest of your gaming existence.
And
right
and
there.
one thing that we picked up as exhibitors at Indie PopCon was, people want to know, what are you guys podcasting about and things like that. And one thing that Josh and I talked about, next year when we do PopCon, we're going to get a double booth. That's
Yes.
the goal.
Yes.
But having space to be able to sit down and play a game with somebody and say, you know what? Not only are you going to enjoy listening to our podcast, but just like Mikey Mason has said, we're now friends. You have sat down and you have played King of Tokyo with me for 45 minutes. I showed you how to play the game, and we had a blast. And guess what? Now we're buddies. And now you're going to want to listen to the show just to keep up with us,
Right.
And leave comment. And it's like you want to build a relationship and a rapport. It doesn't matter if you're actually selling something for profit or if you're just selling yourself. So
It's similar to what, like with the artists, like what you're saying,
Yeah.
and they would draw it at the booth. That's building a relationship to the person,
right.
just in art form.
Yeah.
With us, with like games where we were play testing the game, or when the established facts were playing games, like established games, then that was our way of building a relationship. And you just need the space to do it, and I think that's...
Isn't that what gaming is all about, though? Whether you're at a con or whether you're at a
Yeah, but-
presentation, is creating the relationships with the people. I mean, that
It
goes
is.
back to
And
what
it
Lance
shouldn't be
said
this
earlier.
big of a revelation, but
No.
it is because a lot of like booths don't do it. Most of them
Exactly.
don't do it.
Right. They just think somehow magically people are going to just poof in and poof out like Tinkerbell. But, I mean, it's one of the most basic principles on the planet, which is you create the relationship and then the profit and the whatever, somebody
Right.
buying your stuff, someone listening to your podcast, somebody, giving you a thumbs up like on Facebook, whatever it is going to come from it. You're not going to
Well-
get it no matter how brilliant an artist you are.
Well, and the fact of the matter is, people aren't going to put their money in a product that they don't care about.
Right.
Especially if they don't know about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, kind of moving ahead from there, we've got another. It's July now, and we've got another 5 months or so.
Is it still
before-
July? Because when is this podcast going to drop?
It will drop at Monday.
Okay, so it is the end of July.
It's the end of July.
July.
It's the end of July.
For all you
and
YouTuber people out there.
That's right. And we have got a lot more things coming down the line for us. We've got, of course, Gen Con is coming, and so what I would love for us to kind of get into is just some of the. What was that look for?
Do we want to do it now, or do we want to include it in our pre-Gen Con episode? I mean, we've already
What's
got
that?
50 our 2014 year in review. We've got 50 minutes of con talk, and
That's true.
That's why I'm asking. Do we want to do it? I mean, I'm cool, but
I don't understand what you're asking, sir.
Don,
He's not forming
Don,
complete
ask about
sentences.
what because our pre-Gen Con is going to be all about Gen Con. So
Right.
ask what
Okay.
conventions are we
okay,
going to.
okay. That's what you were asking. Sorry, I did not.
If you're not going to take control of this podcast, I will.
That's fine. I was trying to. I just wasn't sure what direction I was
fine.
going in.
Unfortunately, Deborah
Okay,
and Don are not
so-
talking the same language at the moment.
Right, exactly. So at minute 55, let's just kind of briefly get into a preview of some of the conventions, and if you can tie in a convention and maybe a game or two that you're looking forward to, we'll kind of do it round table style. We'll start with Debbie this time. Go around the table and a game or a convention or something that you're looking forward to between July, the end of July or beginning of August to the end of December 2014.
I always say after Gen Con because everybody here is going to say Gen Con.
Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
fine. That's fine.
Well, I'm honestly, and I honestly cannot figure out what I'm going to do after Gen Con, and the reasons, for simple matter, is that I'm going to be having our first child sometime in
There you
October.
go.
So
There
that's
you
not
go.
a convention.
That's not.
But
We can make it one.
Start selling tickets now.
you all can make comments on the Facebook Established Facts page. Absolutely.
There you go.
did we just come up with Baby Con?
Yeah,
Yes.
Baby
no,
con.
we're
So
not
which
doing-
hospital are we
Yeah,
going to hold this in?
Witness-
Indianapolis,
witness-
Indiana.
Witness real life childbirth. A baby
Oh,
con.
no.
There's a limited ticket sales for that.
Yeah.
2.
One.
Mike's wife and I have already
a coming
established
out
that
party.
there are certain limits between friendships, and that is one of
That's
them.
right.
Speaking of that,
I
congratulations to the Massies.
Yay, Nazis.
I was going to
Ashlyn
do it at the
Michelle
end, but that's
Massey.
totally cool. No, I'm not mad at you.
Oh, yeah?
Ashlyn
Michelle.
Michelle. That's right.
Massey.
Ashlyn Michelle Massey, and that is
Yes.
number 2
It is
for the Massey clan.
second
So
girl. So
she was born on the 25th, which happens to also be my 3-year-old's birthday. It's the
That's-
25th. So.
kind of
Destiny.
wild.
That's right.
So, in regards
Good
to how
game.
many, of cons, I don't really know if that's going to be in my future beyond Gen Con. Maybe.
Eventually.
Eventually it will be, but at this
Maybe
point...
not right away.
And otherwise, I am having so much fun playing my Wii U that I'm blessing whoever invented it in Nintendo, because I can imagine this being ideal. Like, I'm taking, I've got baby girl next to me, and okay, I want to do something, but I don't want to go far from her. Hey, I can just pick up my Wii U, sit in my, seat right next to her, play the game. She starts crying. I hit the pause button. I love how easy that can be. Beyond that, we're going to keep playing our games here at the house.
Are you a Super Smash Brothers fan?
I have played it in the past,
Okay.
but I haven't played any of the
Because it's coming
recent
out.
versions.
Yeah, it
It
is.
comes out in I think October.
Well, then,
Something like
okay, that is definitely
More
I haven't played
friendship
it for
killer
a while.
games.
Yeah.
Yes, which is why
Yeah.
I play it by
But that's
myself.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the point.
So that would be a definite possibility right there.
I love that she thinks that after she has the baby, she's going to have all this time to play video games.
Right? Like,
No. Please note, I was saying if she's sleeping, okay, play the game, and then when she starts crying, you hit the pause button,
Yeah.
and then you paused it.
You'll be
so-
sleeping while she's
yeah,
sleeping.
You'll be lucky to get sleep.
Yeah.
So-
I also realize this point, but I'm trying. I'm trying to be
Oh,
a
you're
gamer.
good. It's an adjustment. It's an adjustment. Joshy,
So,
she already took the baby. Sorry, you got
that's
to come up
cool.
with something else.
That's all right. I'll be here for that too.
Yeah, you better.
All right.
She'll hunt you down.
The Last of Us is getting the high definition remaster. Actually comes out on my birthday, July 29th, and I may actually play through that game again just because now it's on the PS4 and I want to give it an opportunity. Very rarely do I willingly pick up a game to play it a second time, but that one might just be worth it. Obviously, with Madden coming out and there's a slew of games coming out between now and October in particular, but Madden always sticks out for us. And I am excited, as many times I've mentioned the WWE fan that I am. In October, WWE 2K15 comes out, and one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is finally making a WWE appearance in Sting. Will be an official character instead of a first created wrestler, like most people do. Sting has finally come to the game. 2 generations, both the short blonde Sting and the crow Sting. So excited to be a part of that, to get that game and see what they do in the evolution of that. Now that it's coming to the next generation.
You got to pre-order that to get that.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. If I haven't already.
No, I'm just saying that for the listeners, too. You got to pre-order that to get that, so...
Right. Or knowing, like, yes, you need to pre-order, but what has happened in the past is like 3 months after it comes out, it's like $2 or something like that, and you can add Sting on or something
That's
like
right.
that.
But why not get it for free?
Right. The Assassin's Creed Unity is going to be coming out later this year.
You can just stop going down my list.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
PlayStation 4 exclusive, The Order 1886, I think is what it is. I don't remember if that's coming out the end of this year or the first of next year.
What's that one about? What's that one about?
That one's it's a first-person shooter steampunk monster hunting game. It's kind of a horror-based game.
Okay, I'm going to be interested in watching that at least.
It's kind of a horror-based game, but you're fighting vampires and werewolves with steampunk-style guns.
Like Grim No, not Steam. That's not Steam.
A lot, kind of like that. Very, very dark-looking. It's a PlayStation exclusive. It's going to be very interesting. Speaking of exclusives, I know I'm going to take another one off your list because I'm pretty sure that this Christmas I may go ahead and jump the gun on the Xbox One because of the Halo Master Chief Collection.
I hate you.
I'm sorry. I'm talking all video games. There are other. Pathfinder releases are coming out. The Advanced Class Guide.
Now you're not just talking about video games. You're talking about everything now.
I can throw out anything. You're talking about the stuff I'm excited about. I'm excited about the Master Chief Collection and a lot of really cool games. There are more on that list.
I've
pre-ordered.
got 2 on here.
That I haven't
video
mentioned.
games that you haven't mentioned.
Sorry,
I'll mention them. Don't worry.
Then I'll shut up.
Yeah, of course you will.
Needless to say, gaming has got a really good outlook for the rest of the year, and hopefully I will be able to play at least a little bit of it in between sleeping and taking care of Maggie.
That's right. Changing butts. Lance?
I play a lot of checkers lately. I'm teaching my 4-year-old how to play turn-based games, so we're playing checkers, we're playing Connect 4.
Awesome.
Getting her into the gaming slowly by
Do not play tic-tac-toe with her.
No one plays tic-tac-toe
No one
with
plays
me.
tic-tac-toe.
It's pointless.
I watched Bonnie try and play it with Joey last night. It was
Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining because Joey just wasn't quite getting it. But
He likes... There's a couple games that he really likes Candyland, and he likes... there's a Disney... We have a Disney matching game that he really...
Memory?
And Chutes and Ladders.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially memory.
I'm also looking forward to, video game-wise, Diablo 3.5. That's one that I do like that single-player game. It is a multiplayer game, though, and my wife and I play it all the time.
Barbarian all the way.
Barbarian.
that's right, Barbarian.
I'm a big fan of the Wizard.
I like the Necromancer.
Universal Storytelling System. I'm going to take that one away from Derek because I found in selling it that I love playing it. It's just so freeform, so open that there is no 2 games alike. And conventions-wise, I think after Gen Con I'm done until the end of the year.
Derek?
I am probably going to be the least active of everybody here, but I'm going to have so much that I'm doing.
Right.
I'm not going to have any conventions after... no, I lie. So after Gen Con, I'm actually going to attend Indie FurCon.
Ah, yes.
So
Okay.
I think it'll be an interesting experience.
What is that?
Okay, have you heard the term furry?
Yes.
Okay, it's a furry convention.
Oh.
Okay,
They
for
have
those of you that
Yes.
haven't heard the term furry,
Okay.
it's people that dress up like mascots, animal mascots, in elaborate or subdued costumes. It could be as much as the entire headgear, full body thing. It could be as much as wearing a neck collar.
It's people that enjoy anthropomorphized animals.
Right.
So things like Bugs Bunny or going. I mean, that's
Disney's
going
Fox and
back
the Hound.
Disney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's people who enjoy that type of fandom. So
They had a con for that.
Oh, they've got lots of them.
It's new.
They do
here.
now. I think it's a couple of years old.
Oh.
I think it's
It's
1 or 2 years old.
several years.
Is it?
old.
In Indy?
Not well in Indy. I think it's like I think it's two or
It's a
three.
couple years old in
Yeah,
Indy.
yeah. But it's been a decade or more for the fandom. But most of my time is going to be creating games, writing books, that sort of thing for the next 5-6 months. And then I'm ending the season 1 of my campaign at the beginning of September. And I think the next convention I may go to will be in February timeframe. But I'm trying to apply everything that I learned at GamerX to what I'm going to do next. Speaking of WWE, Josh, we saw Darren Young at GamerX.
I knew he was going to be there.
And they were previewing the 2K15 there. So they had like 2 huge monitors and
Josh didn't get to play it.
Be jealous.
I am jealous. I've played every one since SmackDown. Just Bring It. Every single one of
that
them.
was a fun
Gosh.
one.
And if you guys weren't on the, I don't know where I posted this on Facebook, but I actually won a game at GamerX.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you win?
Assassin's Creed 3.
Oh, nice. Such a good game.
I haven't played it. I didn't own it, so it was really good. I mean, I know it's an older game, but it was really
It's still
cool.
a really good game.
Yeah.
Any of the Assassin's Creed's really
Yeah, he got a chance to walk away from the booth while we were there.
I had to. It was like I was going.
Yeah.
It was like I was.
Introversion was
yeah.
going crazy.
Yeah.
sensory overload.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's my.
Okay. Brian?
Well, considering the fact that before this I was used to going to 1 con a year, and now I've been to 4, I think I'm pretty much gonna stay low for the rest of the year because that's pretty much all I can afford. Unless they get thrown into another convention, I don't know. We'll see. But as of right now, I don't have anything in the works. In regards to games, I can't really think of any off the top of my head that haven't already been mentioned that I'm looking forward to. So, yeah, there you have it.
Awesome.
And not for the rest of Don's list.
I will also say the Mega Man board game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Coming out.
That's right.
They said that by the end of the year.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm getting the deluxe pack.
We're getting copies.
Good. It looks
Gen-
like a lot of fun, and
I mean as the pod. I don't mean.
Oh.
I didn't.
Because I have a copy. I don't remember you buying one.
No. I just meant like we're going to have a copy to play amongst like us.
There'll be 2 of us.
We'll let you guys.
I don't think it's not going to be released at Gen Con because they don't have. They're still getting the rights, their approvals from Capcom.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got what?
Most of it.
Yeah, like
I think there are like
80% of the miniatures have been approved.
Yeah,
Okay.
that haven't been yet, and they said that it's going to be by the end of the year. And I'm
Okay,
getting
cool.
2 deluxe copies, so one I'm going to be auctioning off at Fear the Con.
Yeah.
And the other one will be for us.
Cool.
So,
Either way it goes, I'm happy for that guy, man.
yeah, he's got a lot
Yeah.
of stuff coming up. Like
Jason.
he's got like a star, like a outer space type of game that will be played on like those play mats for card games. He's got that kickstarting right before Gen Con.
And they'll be at Gen Con.
And they're going to be at Gen
So make sure you
Con.
go
I
by
mean,
the Jasco booth.
Definitely.
Check out the new UFS set and stuff like that.
Yeah, they've got the Mega Man set out there, and then they'll have the tins out there, but the Darkstalkers tins will be a couple weeks after that because of shipping issues from China.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, there you go. Okay. So, just to throw these out there for all of you listeners, there is another convention coming to Indianapolis after Gen Con that is not an established convention yet. It is called Awesome Con 2014, and it'll be at the convention center. It is the first weekend in October. I can't remember if that's like this.
It's like the 6th and 7th or something like that.
I think it's like the 5th and 6th. But yeah, it's like those. It's the first weekend of October. Whatever. whatever the dates
sets it
are.
apart from the other conventions that
It's
are coming?
awesome.
So far, the fact that they have Wash, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk.
That's all. That's
Don't
all you
look at
need
me
to know.
like that. What? I don't like you anymore.
You know, this whole silence thing is so riveting.
So it works
Anyhow,
great on radio.
okay, so
Moving on.
so yes, AwesomeCon 2014. It's obviously it's a new con to Indianapolis. It's actually a fairly new con in general. Check out their website, awesomecon.com. Of course, Gen Con is in like 2 weeks.
2.5 weeks.
That's right. So
It can't come sooner.
that's right. So and that's going to be a really good time. That's gonna be a really good time. But anyhow, as far as some of the games that I'm really looking forward to in the second half of the year, I've got a pretty large list of different board games and RPGs and stuff like that. Of course, Josh said, Madden and WWE and Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. But Sims 4, he didn't mention Sims 4.
Well, I'm not a Sims player. My wife is.
I know. And then
didn't mention
the
Sims
new
I didn't
Four.
mention it because that's a game that I won't have time with.
That's
the new
right.
baby. I mean,
And then,
Sims 4 Sims requires focus and dedication.
That's right.
And
It does.
passion.
That does.
So you don't kill your Tamagotchi.
Yeah,
That's
well,
right.
yeah.
It's the most advanced form of Tamagotchi ever.
And actually, speaking of Tamagotchi, it's funny that you mentioned that. In, I believe, October, for those of you who are interested, the new Pokemon game comes out for 3DS.
I'm okay, thanks.
Hey, I like Pokemon. But Kings of New York,
Yeah.
huge release at Gen Con.
Sequel to
I'm pretty
King of-
sure it's.
King of Tokyo.
I'm pretty sure they're releasing a copy of it. At Gen
They're
Con.
going to try to, yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to be one of those things that they'll probably be out of it.
Was it
Oh,
30
yeah.
seconds?
Oh, yeah.
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 They haven't offered a pre-order, or I'd already
Right.
pre-ordered it.
Right. Slugfest Games, the guys who make Red Dragon Inn, they've actually got 2 new characters for their allies deck. So if you play Red Dragon Inn, they've got like Natalia, the troll, something I can't remember, Witch Doctor, troll Witch Doctor, and then like Pookie. You can play as Pookie. Oh, they have 2 new characters. Brother Bastion, who is basically like a priest, and Ezric the Mighty. No, Ezric the Elemental Master. That's what it is. So they got 2 new ally decks for Red Dragon Inn. My wife and I are huge Red Dragon Inn fans. So, of course, the new D&D Player's Handbook.